Captain Elias Ward lived a quiet life on the edge of the galaxy. His outpost, a small human settlement on the barren planet of Iridia 7, was far from bustling trade routes or galactic politics. Most days he spent repairing old starships, managing supplies, and enjoying the rare moments of peace that his solitary life offered. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Elias sat outside his small quarters, sipping recycled water and watching the orange glow fade into a deep, purple sky. The silence was comforting, broken only by the occasional hum of machinery from the nearby landing pad. Suddenly, a bright streak cut across the sky, a spacecraft moving erratically. Elias's instincts kicked in immediately. "Not a meteor," he muttered. "Someone's in trouble." He grabbed his flashlight and sprinted toward the landing pad where the small craft plummeted and crashed into the soft dunes. Smoke curled from its damaged engines, and the air smelled faintly of burning fuel. Elias approached cautiously, his hand resting on the blaster at his side, though he hoped he wouldn't need it. From the wreckage emerged two figures, their forms delicate but strangely humanoid. They were clad in sleek silver uniforms that shimmered even in the dim light. Their skin had a subtle glow, not like Earth's light, but like the faint radiance of a distant star. Their eyes were wide and golden, filled with fear, confusion, and exhaustion. Elias instinctively stepped forward. "Hey, are you okay? Can you move?" One of them, slightly taller, turned toward him. Her voice was melodic but strong. "Please, help us." Without hesitation, Elias guided them to his quarters. Inside, he offered blankets, water, and food, simple rations he kept for himself. They accepted gratefully, though they still seemed wary. "I'm Elias," he said, trying to make them comfortable. "You're safe here, no one's going to hurt you." "I am Princess Lyra," the taller one said softly. "And this is my sister, Princess Saren. We need shelter." Elias blinked. "Princesses?" he asked, unsure whether to laugh or take her seriously. Their situation seemed urgent, so he held his skepticism. "Okay, princesses. You're safe." Lyra and Saren exchanged a glance, and Elias noticed a flicker of relief in their golden eyes. They were obviously exhausted from their escape, and despite their royal demeanor, they seemed genuinely vulnerable. "What happened to your ship?" Elias asked, inspecting the wreckage through the viewport. "It was attacked," Saren whispered, her voice trembling. "By enemies from our own galaxy. We were being chased. We had no choice but to land here." Elias frowned. "You mean intergalactic pirates?" Lyra shook her head. "Not exactly. Political rivals. We are heirs to the Astray Dominion. Our people are in conflict with another ruling faction. We were fleeing to preserve our lives and the future of our worlds." Pure words hung in the air. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. He was just a human, living on a forgotten planet at the edge of the galaxy. And now 2 alien princesses had landed in his backyard seeking his help. He swallowed. "You're telling me you're royalty, and I'm the only one who can help you?" Lyra nodded. "For now, yes." Elias took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing thoughts. This was unlike anything he had ever faced, but a human's instinct to protect those in danger was strong. "All right," he said firmly. "You stay here tonight. I'll make sure no one finds you." Over the next few hours, Elias made small adjustments to his outpost. He rerouted power to cover entrances, set up basic alarms, and secured all external doors. Meanwhile, the princesses rested quietly, their expressions softening as they realized they were truly safe. For the moment. By late night, the twin suns had disappeared completely, and a blanket of stars spread across the sky. Elias sat near the window, watching, half in awe and half in disbelief. He had always admired the stars, but tonight they felt closer, as if the galaxy itself was aware of the small drama unfolding on Iridia 7. "Why did you come here?" Elias finally asked. "Of all the places in the galaxy, why this remote outpost?" Lyra, turned her golden eyes toward him. Because humans are different, brave, kind, unpredictable. We had no idea if we could trust any species, but there was something in your sector, something we sensed, and we were right. Elias felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had never considered himself heroic. Yet here he was, sheltering alien, royalty who might very well hold the fate of entire worlds in their hands. Saren smiled faintly, leaning back against the wall. You saved us, Captain Elias Ward. Even without knowing who we are, you chose to help. Elias chuckled softly. I didn't do it for you being princesses. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And I guess because I couldn't just stand by and watch you crash. Lyra studied him, her expression unreadable, then nodded slowly. Perhaps humanity has more potential than we imagined. As the night deepened, the outpost fell into a quiet peace. Outside, the wind whispered over the dunes, and the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter. Elias knew this night was only the beginning. He had no idea that by dawn the galaxy itself would start to notice his actions, and that soon he would be swept into events far beyond his quiet, ordinary life. But for now, Elias watched over the two alien princesses, feeling a strange connection to them. He didn't know their worlds, their struggles, or the dangerous political games that awaited them. He only knew that he had chosen to do what any decent human would do: offer shelter, kindness, and protection. And sometimes, Elias thought, that simple choice could change everything. The next morning, the twin suns of Iridia 7 rose slowly, casting soft orange light across Elias Ward's small outpost. The air was quiet except for the hum of the damaged alien spacecraft, which the princesses had managed to stabilize enough to survive. Elias moved about the quarters, preparing a simple breakfast of nutrient bars and recycled water, though his mind kept drifting back to the two mysterious guests. Lyra and Saren had woken early, quietly inspecting the outpost and the small human technologies that surrounded them. Despite their alien origin, they showed fascination with the simple devices Elias had built or repaired. Saren smiled at the mechanical tools, picking one up delicately. Your people are clever, she said softly. Elias shrugged. We make do with what we have. Not as advanced as your kind, but we manage. Lyra's golden eyes studied him. It is often not the technology, but the person behind it that matters. Courage, kindness, wisdom. These qualities are rare. Elias felt a strange warmth in his chest. He was used to hearing people call him practical or stubborn, but never wise. He cleared his throat. Well, I just did what anyone should do. Help someone in need. The princesses exchanged glances, almost as if speaking silently. There was a quiet gravity in the room, the kind that hinted at secrets yet to be revealed. Before Elias could ask more questions, the air shimmered with a sudden ripple, and a holographic projection appeared in the center of the room. The figure was imposing, clad in intricate robes with a regal presence that demanded attention. The Queen of Astray, tall, majestic, and undeniably commanding, looked down at Elias with eyes that seemed to pierce through his very soul. You, the Queen, said, her voice echoing slightly, are Captain Elias Ward. Elias straightened, trying not to show surprise. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am Queen Valara, ruler of the Astray Dominion, she replied. I have been informed that you sheltered my daughters, Princess Lyra and Princess Saren, when they were in danger. Lyra and Saren bowed slightly, though they did not speak. Elias felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. I am impressed, the Queen continued. Most species would have ignored them, yet you offered protection without hesitation. Such courage and moral clarity are rare. Humans are unpredictable, but sometimes they show remarkable strength. Elias swallowed, uncertain how to respond. I didn't expect thanks from a queen, he admitted. I just did what I thought was right. Queen Valara's hologram seemed to shimmer with approval. Precisely. That is why I have a request, no, a command. To honor the bond you have formed with my daughters, and to strengthen ties between our peoples, you will marry them both. Elias blinked. Wait. Marry them? Both of them? Yes, the Queen said firmly. This is not merely about ceremony. It is a strategic alliance. Humans possess qualities that our people admire: resilience, ingenuity, and moral clarity. My daughters must bond with someone of your kind to secure a future for our worlds. Elias felt a wave of disbelief. He had always lived a quiet life, fixing starships and avoiding attention. Now he was being asked to marry two alien princesses, royalty from a galaxy far beyond his own. Lyra stepped forward. Mother, this is sudden, she said carefully, though her tone carried respect. Captain Elias has not even had time to understand our world. Saren nodded in agreement. He acted out of kindness. That alone is extraordinary. But perhaps there is a way to consider this carefully. Queen Valara's eyes softened slightly, though her presence remained commanding. I am aware this is sudden. But Captain, understand this. Your actions have already set events in motion. By offering shelter, you have proven yourself capable of courage and honor. These qualities are the foundation of a bond that could unite our peoples. Elias ran a hand through his hair. I don't know anything about interstellar politics or royal families. I'm just human. I fix ships. I protect people when I can. The Queen's gaze remained steady. That is exactly why you are suitable. The days after the Queen's message were anything but ordinary. Captain Elias Ward's quiet life had transformed into a whirlwind of galactic diplomacy, royal expectations, and the presence of two alien princesses who were now living under his roof. Lyra and Saren had begun exploring the human outpost, their curiosity evident in every movement. The small settlement of Iridia 7 was a far cry from the gleaming halls of the Astri Dominion, yet the sisters were fascinated by its simplicity. Saren inspected Elias's tools with keen interest, turning a wrench this way and that. Your technology is primitive compared to ours, she said, yet it works efficiently. Humans are clever. Elias chuckled. We call it making do. We don't always have the resources, but we find a way. Lyra wandered toward the communications console, her fingers tracing the buttons lightly. And this allows you to speak across vast distances? She asked. Yes, Elias replied. Though it's limited. I can reach nearby sectors, not far corners of the galaxy like your people can. The princesses tried the simplest human tasks, cooking basic rations, cleaning quarters, and walking across the rocky dunes outside the outpost. Each attempt brought both humor and learning. Saren accidentally spilled water on the floor, slipping comically before Elias helped her steady herself. Lyra struggled to use the old human communicator, accidentally triggering an alarm that sent a flock of small mechanical drones whirring around the room. Despite the occasional chaos, Elias found himself laughing more than he had in years. The sisters' fascination with his simple life, their curiosity and energy, brought warmth into the outpost that had been absent for so long. Yet, not everything was lighthearted. The Queen's directive weighed heavily on all of them. Elias understood the significance of the impending marriage, though the decision was not his alone. Both princesses needed time to learn about Earth, its customs, and the human he had become acquainted with. And Elias, in turn, needed to understand them, not just as royalty but as individuals. One afternoon, while walking along the dunes, Elias asked, How do you feel about all this? About the Queen's command? Lyra paused, staring at the orange horizon. It is strange, yes. To be told who we must bond with, it feels unnatural. But Captain, you showed us kindness without knowing who we were. That is rare in any world, and that matters. Saren nodded. We do not wish to force you, Elias, but our survival, and perhaps the survival of our people, depends on understanding one another. We hope we can learn to trust. Elias looked at them, understanding the delicate balance he faced. They were both royalty, but also young, capable beings with minds of their own. His role was not just protector. It was a bridge between worlds. The following days brought new challenges. Rival factions within the Astray Dominion had learned of the sisters' temporary refuge on Iridia 7. Elias began noticing unusual signals and minor mechanical disturbances around the outpost. Once, a drone from an unknown source hovered near the perimeter, scanning the area before vanishing. "This is getting complicated," Elias muttered. "I thought the Queen's word would protect them." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Protection comes in many forms. Your vigilance, your courage, these are just as important as any royal decree." As if to test them, the outpost faced several practical challenges. A sudden sandstorm forced everyone indoors, while Saren tried to manage the air filtration system, causing minor technical difficulties that had Elias scrambling to fix leaks and maintain oxygen levels. Lyra helped where she could, though her alien physiology made some Earth technologies tricky to use. Through it all, the sisters adapted surprisingly fast. They learned to handle the air filtration, repaired minor damage to the outpost, and even began helping Elias with daily tasks. Yet every step forward reminded him that their worlds were incredibly different. "You must understand," Lyra said one evening. "Our way of thinking is different. We plan for centuries, not decades. We think in terms of alliances and strategies that your species rarely considers. Yet, we admire your instincts. The way you act without overthinking, guided by courage and kindness, is remarkable." Elias scratched his head. "I suppose we do things differently, maybe too quickly sometimes. But instinct has saved lives, more than once, I'll admit." Saren smiled faintly. "And that is why you are here. Not as a pawn, not as a tool, but as someone capable of actions that shape the future." Their days passed with training, adaptation, and growing understanding. The sisters explored Earth customs, attempting to enjoy local delicacies and Earth routines. Elias introduced them to simple pleasures, stargazing at night, basic sports, and even storytelling around a small campfire. Each activity built bonds, small threads of friendship that slowly intertwined with trust. Yet, danger was never far. Elias began receiving subtle warnings from the outskirts of Iridia 7, strange signals, unusual sand patterns, and glimpses of unidentified ships moving beyond the horizon. It became clear that rival factions were testing the outpost's defenses. One night, after a particularly difficult day of repairs and teaching, Elias looked out over the dunes. "We're not alone," he murmured. "They're watching us." Lyra joined him, her eyes reflecting the distant stars. "Then we prepare, not as humans or aliens, but together. If we can trust one another, perhaps we can face whatever comes." Saren, sitting nearby, nodded. "And perhaps this trial will show us more than we expected: courage, friendship, and even bonds beyond command." Elias felt a strange determination rising in him. He had never considered himself a hero, but the presence of these two remarkable beings had changed him. He realized that trials, whether from the galaxy or from fate, were a chance to grow, to adapt, and to prove that humanity could rise to meet challenges that seemed impossible. And as the stars shone bright above Iridia 7, the small outpost became more than a shelter. It became a place of learning, trust, and preparation. A place where a human and two alien princesses would discover how courage, kindness, and determination could face trials that spanned worlds. Elias knew that the days ahead would be even harder. He would have to navigate cultural differences, galactic politics, and looming threats. But for the first time in his life, he felt ready, not just to survive, but to protect, to teach, and perhaps even to unite two very different worlds. And deep down, he understood that the Queen's command was only the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead: growing bonds of trust, courage, and respect that could shape the future of the galaxy. The calm of Iridia 7 was shattered before dawn. Captain Elias Ward had been keeping watch when his scanners detected multiple, unidentified ships moving toward the outpost at high speed. The markings were unfamiliar, yet the aggression was unmistakable. They're coming, Elias muttered, adrenaline surging. His eyes darted to the two princesses who were alert and ready. Lyra and Saren had adapted quickly to Earth's environment, but now their knowledge of alien technology could be crucial. Do you think they'll attack? Saren asked, her voice steady despite the tension. They're trying to scare us, Elias replied, but we'll defend ourselves if we have to. The first ship appeared on the horizon, a sleek black vessel with angular wings clearly built for speed and agility. It fired a warning shot, sending a wave of energy that scorched a nearby dune. Elias immediately activated the outpost's defensive systems, which were rudimentary by interstellar standards but effective when combined with strategy. Lyra stepped forward, her golden eyes glowing faintly. We can help. The attackers are using patterns we've seen before. If we combine your technology with our knowledge, we can repel them. Elias nodded. Then let's do it. Together they worked quickly. The outpost's turrets, simple yet reliable, were modified using Lyra and Saren's alien enhancements. Shields flickered to life, protecting the structure from the initial blasts. Elias coordinated manually, moving between consoles, issuing commands, and improvising strategies on the fly. The attackers were skilled, but Elias had one advantage they did not: the outpost's terrain. He used the dunes to hide defensive units and created false energy signatures to confuse the enemy sensors. Saren guided the placement of energy barriers while Lyra provided analysis of the ship's likely maneuvers. Minutes stretched like hours as the battle intensified. Laser beams lit the horizon, casting fleeting shadows over the desert sands. Small explosions dotted the dunes, but Elias's strategy worked. Enemy ships collided with false signatures or were pushed back by energy shields. At one point, an enemy ship broke through the defenses, aiming directly at the main quarters. Elias's heart raced as he manually redirected a turret, firing with precision that surprised even himself. The ship exploded in a dazzling display of sparks and metal, but the warning was clear. They would not give up easily. Lyra and Saren worked side by side with him. Their alien technology integrated seamlessly with human ingenuity. Saren operated a control panel that looked almost alien in design, rerouting power to damaged turrets. Lyra analyzed incoming attack patterns, predicting the next moves before the enemy made them. Elias realized something profound. Humans were adaptable, but when combined with knowledge and technology from other worlds, they could achieve incredible results. The outpost, humble and isolated, became a fortress of combined ingenuity. Hours passed, but finally, the last enemy ship retreated. The horizon returned to the quiet Orang. The days after the attack brought a quiet, reflective calm to the outpost on Iridia 7. Captain Elias Ward spent the mornings repairing systems, checking defenses, and ensuring that the outpost was ready for any future threats. Yet, amidst these duties, he found himself drawn more and more into the lives of Princess Lyra and Princess Saren. The sisters, meanwhile, were adjusting to Earth life with increasing ease. They had started learning human customs, though not without occasional missteps. Saren had accidentally set off a small alarm while attempting to operate the air filtration system, causing Elias to dash across the quarters with a tool in hand. Lyra, on the other hand, had a fascination with Earth's simple cooking methods, though she frequently overestimated quantities, turning a small meal into a comedic disaster. Despite these moments, Elias found himself smiling more than he had in years. Their curiosity and humor brought light to his otherwise solitary life. But beneath the laughter, he sensed their deeper purpose, the growing understanding that he was not merely a caretaker, but a partner in the challenges that lay ahead. One evening, after the suns had set and the sky shimmered with distant stars, Elias and the princesses walked outside, breathing in the cool night air. The twin moons of Iridia 7 cast a gentle glow over the dunes, creating a serene backdrop for reflection. "Captain," Lyra began, her voice calm but thoughtful. "We must discuss the future." Elias glanced at her. "What do you mean?" "The Queen's command. The marriage. It is still expected. But we are not asking for decisions yet. We wish for understanding. Of each other, Of your world and of your heart, she said, her golden eyes reflecting the starlight. Elias nodded, slowly. I want to understand, not just your worlds but you, Lyra and Saren. I can't make a decision based on duty or fear. It has to be real. Saren stepped closer. That is all we ask. Trust, honesty, and time. The rest will follow naturally. The nights that followed became a time of learning and sharing. Elias taught the princesses basic earth routines, simple physical exercises, and even human recreational games. They laughed at his explanations, sometimes mimicking his movements awkwardly, yet always with curiosity and dedication. In turn, Lyra and Saren shared glimpses of the Astray culture. They spoke of their homeworld's magnificent cities, advanced technology, and long-standing traditions. Elias listened, fascinated, asking questions and absorbing details with a keen interest. He learned that the princesses valued courage, strategy, and moral integrity above all else, qualities he realized he shared, even in his small, isolated life. One afternoon, while repairing a solar panel array outside the outpost, Elias glanced at the sisters as they observed him. Saren, studying the panel connections, asked, "How do humans manage with so little yet survive?" Elias wiped sweat from his brow. "We make do. We adapt. We use our minds and our instincts. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it works perfectly, but we keep trying." Lyra smiled softly. "That is why your species fascinates us. You act with courage and morality, even when the odds are against you. You have qualities that many in our galaxy lack." Elias felt warmth rise in him. "Thanks. That means a lot. But I think you two are remarkable as well. You've survived dangers I can barely imagine, and yet you adapt. You're brave, clever, and surprisingly funny." The sisters laughed, a melodic sound that echoed across the dunes. The simple moment, free of politics and war, strengthened the bonds forming between them. Trust was growing, not because of obligation, but because of shared experiences, mutual respect, and genuine affection. Over time, Elias noticed subtle changes in the princesses. Lyra became more relaxed, often engaging in playful teasing during lessons in human skills. Saren, usually cautious, began to offer her own insights and solutions during technical repairs, displaying a quiet confidence that impressed him. Both were learning from him, and he from them. Yet their bonds were tested again, not by external threats, but by the weight of responsibility. Messages from the Astray Dominion arrived intermittently, reminding them of duties and expectations. The Queen's hologram occasionally appeared, her presence commanding yet calm. "You must understand," the Queen said during one transmission. "Your actions are being observed. Alliances are fragile and trust is essential. Elias, Lyra, Saren, your choices will influence not only personal lives but the fates of worlds." Elias nodded. "I understand. But I want decisions made with understanding and trust, not just command." The Queen's gaze softened, almost imperceptibly. "Very well, but be aware, time is not on your side. Learn, grow, and decide. The galaxy watches." As the weeks passed, Elias and the princesses grew closer, sharing stories of Earth, Astray, and personal experiences. Lyra confided about her fears of leadership and the burden of expectation. Saren spoke about the importance of loyalty, courage, and making the right choices even when difficult. Elias shared tales of his life on Iridia 7, the hardships he had faced and the lessons learned from solitude and responsibility. One night, as the trio watched the stars shimmer above, Elias realized something profound. The connection he shared with Lyra and Saren was not defined by royal commands or political alliances. It was defined by trust, understanding, and respect. These bonds were stronger than any decree, more lasting than any promise imposed from afar. "Do you think we're ready?" Saren asked quietly. "For what?" Elias replied, curious. "For what comes next," Lyra said. "The decisions, the challenges, the galaxy. We are learning together. That is what matters." Elias nodded. "I think we are." Not perfect, not without fear, but ready to face whatever comes, together. The night air felt peaceful, yet charged with possibility. Elias understood that the quiet days of learning and bonding were preparing them for challenges far beyond Iridia 7. They were forging trust, courage, and unity, qualities that would be tested as the galaxy's eyes turned toward them. In that moment, Elias felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever before. He had protected 2 alien princesses, survived attacks, and helped forge connections across worlds. And now, as bonds of trust and friendship grew, he realized that the future, uncertain as it was, held potential for unity, courage, and even hope. The stars above Iridia 7 seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging the power of human kindness, courage, and the extraordinary bonds forming between worlds. Elias knew the challenges ahead would be greater, but he also knew they would face them together, with loyalty, understanding, and the unexpected strength of humanity. And as the night deepened, the human captain and the 2 Astray princesses stood side by side, ready to meet the future, no longer as strangers but as allies and friends, united by trust, courage, and the quiet power of shared hearts. The sun rose slowly over Iridia 7, bathing the dunes in a warm, golden glow. Captain. Elias Ward stood at the edge of the outpost, looking out across the vast desert. Today was the day he would make a choice that could shape not only his life but the futures of 2 alien princesses and their worlds. Lyra and Saren approached quietly, their expressions calm, yet filled with expectation. The Queens. Command weighed heavily, but over time, Elias had learned that the decision was not merely about duty or politics. It was about trust, understanding, and genuine connection. Captain, Lyra said softly. Are you ready? Elias took a deep breath. I think I am. But first, I need to say something. He turned to face them fully, meeting each of their golden eyes. When you first arrived, I only saw 2 strangers in need of help. I didn't know who you were or what your worlds meant. I offered shelter because it was the right thing to do. That choice set all of this in motion. Saren listened quietly, her expression unreadable, yet Elias could feel the curiosity in her gaze. I've learned so much from both of you, he continued. Your courage, your wisdom, your humor, even your mistakes have taught me something. I've grown stronger, braver, and more aware of the galaxy around me because of you. Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. We have learned from you as well. You've shown us that even one human, one person with kindness and courage, can change events far beyond expectation. Elias nodded. That's why I've made my decision. Not because of orders, or alliances, or fear of failure. I choose you both. Not just because the Queen asked, but because I respect, trust, and care for you as individuals. Together, we can face what comes next. The sisters exchanged glances, and for a moment, the air was filled with quiet understanding. Saren stepped forward first. Then we accept your choice, Captain. Not out of duty, but out of trust. Lyra joined her, nodding. And out of friendship, courage, and hope. Together, we will shape a future that benefits humans, Astray, and all who seek peace. Elias felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of relief and joy he had never known. This was not a bond forced by command. It was a bond built on shared trials, understanding, and mutual respect, as if sensing the significance. Of the moment, the twin moons of Iridia 7 began to rise, casting a silvery light across the dunes. It was as though the universe itself acknowledged the union of human courage and alien wisdom, ready to witness the alliance they had chosen freely. Soon after, a hologram flickered to life in the outpost. Queen Valara's regal form appeared, her expression both commanding and approving. Captain Elias Ward, she began, your actions have proven that humanity possesses key of trust and partnership. You have chosen